Hello, friends. This is Lunch with Laura. Thank you for joining me today. I am Laura Lee Collet from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm a independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm here to chit-chat with you through your lunch hour and show you a card that I've made. Y'all, can you believe it is December 3rd? Christmas is rapidly approaching. I haven't even switched my wreath on the door yet, and I have not finished my cards, which is not good news. I've got a lot of work this weekend to get going. But since I saw you, we've had Thanksgiving. I hope yours was wonderful. I know that we can't get together right now like we'd like to, but Rod and I had a trip planned to Durango, and then when the CDC came out and asked that we stay home and not fly and gather, we decided that we better be adults about this and wait and postpone our trip. And maybe they'll have snow. Didn't have any snow this week or this past week. So instead, Rod and I made a trip down to New Orleans to a restaurant called Muriel's. It's in the French Quarter, right by the cathedral, in Jackson Square, actually, right by the cathedral. And it has a history of being haunted. Now, we did this last year, and it was so much fun that we decided, well, since we're not going to Colorado, we'll do this. And they have us a preset menu, but they did have turkey and dressing on there, but they had other wonderful things to choose from. And then, just like last year, when we got finished, we took coffee and drinks upstairs on the balcony to watch the crowds. Well, that was a reminder once again that we're kind of under lockdown and that the coronavirus is impacting things. The crowds in New Orleans weren't there, which I guess right now is a good thing. So anyway, we didn't dawdle too long. We ended up coming on home. But that's what we did. And then right before, well, in fact, the day after I talked to you, I went over to Lafayette to my friend Tracy's, and we made a trip to Houston. And I got 2 pieces of IKEA furniture that is going to be put together this Sunday by a friend of mine from my office. And I have ordered my containers that hold my paper from Stamp and Storage. They came in yesterday. The poor little UPS lady had 6 huge boxes in her car that she was having to deliver in a car. She didn't even have a truck. She says UPS is blown out. So anyway, with Rod's help and Ziggy pushing on the dolly, that's my little Frenchie, that she just loves dollies. So anyway, with their help, we got it in, I got it unpacked. So hopefully next week I'll give you a little preview of what I'm doing and changing. Now, I only had one Christmas outfit, and this is it. I'm gonna stand up so you can read my shirt. Jingle all the way. And my leggings that go with it. I don't know if you could see them or not. They've got light bulbs on them. All right, you're probably thinking, she's in her pajamas doing this, which is kind of true. But I bought them last year to use at the gym so that when we were having our Christmas parties, we would, be decorated and everything. So they're tight fitting so that all that material doesn't get in the way when I'm dancing. So anyway, that is how I'm starting off December with my wardrobe, and I'm going to have to go shop before next week. So I've got 2 cute cards to show you today, both the same technique, just done in portrait and in landscape. So let me flip you down and see if, okay, I'm using a precious set that when I saw it in the catalog, I knew I had to have it. So there we go. We're right on target now. You know, there's a little delay, so I have a little bit of a problem seeing what's going on and then seeing it on the screen and watching what you're doing. Anyway, the stamp set I'm using today is called Gnome for the Holidays. And this is the stamp set. It has a little tree house with decorated with lights. I call him the daddy gnome, the mama gnome, and I don't know, maybe that's the big brother gnome or whatever. Anyway, it says there's no place like Gnome for the holidays, for the Christmas season. You're a friend like gnome other, a little Christmas wish, and holly jolly everything. So this is what I use to do these two cards with, and I just think it is precious. And I will show you, I forgot to get out my Christmas card. Of course, I kind of hate to show that because the people that are going to get it will get a preview of it. But anyway, if we have time, I'll grab that right quick and let you see what I did, because I did another little card with this that just came out cute, cute, cute. Okay, now, for the sentiment, I used the Merry Christmas, and this is from the Curvy Christmas set. This is available right now. And I forgot to pull the flyer. Anyway, in the January mini that comes out on the 5th of January, there's a bundle, the Quite Curvy bundle with the dies. Now these dies, this would be 10% off, and these dies work with the Curvy Christmas. Now we're not using the dies today. For once, we're just doing a card with no extra things to do, but I just wanted to share that with you. And if you are thinking of giving any Christmas gifts, Stampin' Up, you need to get those orders in by my birthday, which is December 9th, next Wednesday, in order for them to come in time. And they're not really guaranteeing that you'll get them on time, but if you wait any later, they're guaranteed not to get here in time. So, okay, let me show you what we're using. I used this before, the Classic Christmas 6x6 DSP. It's already cut 6x6. And the colors in here are Sahara Sand, Shaded Spruce, and Cherry Cobbler. So those are the colors I'm using today. And if you'll think back on one of the other cards, I used some of this too. I just love this paper. So cute. So we're using Cherry Cobbler for the base. I'm going to move these out of the way for a second. Cherry Cobbler's our base, and I cut it at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Nope, that's wrong. I'm so used to saying that. Okay, it is 11 by 4 1/4, so that your card can either open this way, or it can open like a book left to right. So that's the insides of the card. Okay. The Designer Series paper, or DSP, is cut at 3 3/4 by 4, and this is 1 1/4 by 4. I'm going to be placing those in a second. For the Whisper White cardstock, we've got the same dimensions as the DSP, 3 3/4 by 4, and this is a 2 by 3 piece. I'm also going to be using, I didn't have any Shaded Spruce ribbon, so I went to the next closest thing, which is just jade. And I think up against that, it just really looks pretty. So that worked well. So I've cut about a 20-inch length of ribbon. So the first thing you need to do on the card is to get out your trimmer, your paper trimmer, or your Simply Scored, if you have that. Now, it comes, if you don't have this, every number is clearly marked. This lifts up to slide your paper in and then snaps shut. You have the piece that cuts the paper, and the lighter color is the piece that is the scoring tool. So, you're going to score this card in two places. Of course, you're going to score it in the middle, which is at 5.5, which is right there. Put that down. I got the light one, and I do it a couple of times. Then I'm going to move it over and score it at 4 inches. Now, another thing about this paper cutter that I love is that you can cut your 12 by 12. This actually goes out to 17 inches. So, that's just a little more information about that. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but they're very subtle marks. And what I'm going to do first is fold it back in the middle and give it a good, nice crease. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to fold this part back. Now, so that's what the base of your card will look like. The next thing I'm going to do is put down my DSP. So one piece is going to go there and the other piece is going to go here. Now, this particular pattern does not have a right or wrong. Doesn't have an up and down. On this pattern, it did. Well, and actually it's cut so close. This is the same thing. It doesn't have an up and down. But I put it the wrong way. So that's the reason that this card opens from top to bottom. And that means you can always fix a mistake if you make one. I'm going to move this over and take my stamping seal and I'm putting it down between the fold and that other score line right there. Next, I'm going to do the other one. This, you could have used either side. This is such cute paper. I hope you like it as much as I do. All right, now see, that would be the wrong way. So you need to be sure that your 4-inch side is going next to the 4 1/4. There. Now, next thing I'm going to do is put down the ribbon. Adjust that a little bit. I wanted my ribbon, the bow, to be right in the middle. So what I'm going to do is find the middle of my ribbon, find the middle of my card, put just a little bit, just enough to tack it, and then I'm going to find where the center is, put that down on that little tacky glue, and that helps hold it in place while you're tying. So, always go left over right, make your little bunny ear right over left, and pull it tight. Now you can kind of play with the little legs, and it seems like every time I go to do a bow, if I don't do it upside down, the legs are going up in the air. But on this one, it doesn't really matter since it's it's going to be on the side. And I clipped both ends. Now, you see how it's a little wobbly there? I saw this trick from one of the other demonstrators, a lady named Lisa. And what she did was she took her take your pick tool, and she took the little glue dot and kind of rolled it around. I'm not sure exactly how she did that, but rolled it around so that she could put it right down here and put her knot on there, and then it would keep it from flopping all over the place. Okay, so that's just a good little tip for you. Okay, now let's get to our stamping. Okay, first thing we're going to stamp on our card is our greeting. And I am using our Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I'm using the 2x3 piece of cardstock. So I'm gonna, oops, I'm inking up the wrong thing. Here's Merry Christmas. And what I did was I made sure that it's inked up real well and that there are no halos. That's when it gets on the part of the stamp that you do not want inked. Okay, and I'm going to put this down at the bottom. Okay. Next, we're going to do Daddy Gnome. Isn't he cute? He's holding an ornament, and he's got mistletoe hanging from his winter hat. And I'm going to put him right above. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to put these, oops, out of the way for a second. And I am using my blends to color. And primarily I'm going to be using the Cherry Cobbler Dark and the Shaded Spruce Dark. But then I've got the others that, these come in a pair of dark and light. And we have them for almost every color. Not every single, there are a few they left out, but there's enough that you can work around. Okay, I'm gonna start off. There's a large and a small end, and I'm gonna use, there's the large end. I'm gonna use the small end, and I'm getting ink on me, to color. First of all, I'm gonna start with his, kind of looks like a sleep shirt. So I think red's a good color for that. And here, there's a little part on his sleeve and on his socks. And then I colored the little bow and every other little space on his hat. Now, if you don't have blends, by all means, use your markers. If you don't have those, you can use a blender pen and an ink pad, or you can use the watercolor pens. Now, next thing, I'm going to come back, and again, I'm using the smaller end. I just feel like I got more control, but do what feels comfortable with you. And oh, and something else that came up during the day we were supposed to leave to go to Durango to see my cousin and her husband. I got a note from Lady of the Lake Hospital here in Baton Rouge that they were low on my blood type. So I called, and you don't have to have an appointment. You just go in, and I forgot to do the little things. And I gave blood, and it's very, if you've never done it, it's very painless. I don't look at it when they stick the needle in, the big needle in my arm, but Anyway, I gave, I guess, a pint of blood. I don't know. I asked her if she left any for me. She said she did, so, and I was fine after that, and got a hearty dinner and no wine because it had to be 6 hours after. So make sure you plan that if you're a wine drinker. Okay, the next color I'm using, and I'm going to use this on his beard. This is the Crumb Cake Dark, and I'm just taking the big end this time because I'm going to quickly do this. And then I'm going to come back with the soft suede dark. I'm going to use the small end on this. And what I'm going to do is just get in the areas that give him a little bit of depth and shading there. Okay, so he's finished. So I'm going to set him aside. Now we need to stamp the inside. Let's look at the inside of our card again. Okay, we've got the tree up toward the right corner. Then I stamped the words, and then I put Mama in. So let's see. Again, I'm using the black. And ink it up real well. Take a look for those halos that you don't want. And I'm also using my stamping pad. I think these are not in the catalog anymore. It's a Stamp and Pierce mat that's squishy. If you have a mouse pad, you can use that, or a piece of foam. And I have ink on my fingers. Okay. And down and up. Perfect. Next, I'm going to do the words, which I inked up a while ago and almost put on the front. Okay, and this is the one that says there's no place like Gnome for the holiday season, which I think is very appropriate since most of us will be at home this holiday season. Okay, now I'm going to do Mama. And she's cute as she can be too. And I'm going to put her right here. So Papa's welcoming you in. Oh, and did you notice I gave him a little red nose? He's kind of been into the moonshine, so I needed to go back and do that. Okay. Oh, and another thing I forgot. And I didn't finish my story about going to Lady of the Lake to give blood. They had 2 t-shirts to choose from. One was purple and gold for LSU, and it said, I forgot what it said on it. And I asked, I said, well, is there another one? And the guy beside me just started cracking up. I said, well, look, if I'm going to do this, I want my money's worth. So he was laughing, and the lady gets out the child's one, and it's about saving lives, and it was so cute and colorful, and so I liked that one. Okay, I'm going to put his eye down so that he can be. But anybody that knows me knows I've spent way too long in kindergarten. I love googly eyes, wiggly eyes, and then of course I went for the child's t-shirt. Okay, let's close up my black ink. Okay, once again, I'm going to be using the Cherry Cobbler Dark. I wanted her little dress under her apron to be red, but I left her apron white. And I did her little shoes red. She's got some holly on her apron. And then I also went ahead and I did the ornaments first. To me, I don't know why, it makes it easier to do the little things when you're coming back with the background. I also did a couple of little red bulbs up there. Now the green tree, oops, let's do the little one. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of outline it and then fill it in. You know, this is supposed to be a stress reliever. So if any of you out there are stressed, try coloring. Get you a stamp, pretty flowers or whatever, or work on your Christmas cards maybe. And okay. Now, I'm going to go up here and give a couple of these bulbs a little green. Next, we have our tree. And again, I'm going to do the same colors that I used on Papa's beard. I'm going in with the dark crumb cake. And then I'm going to come back and do the lines with the darker color. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now, I thought they should have a nice green door. We do our lines first. I'm not taking much time with this. I'm just creating a little interest there so it's just not all the same color. Now I'm going to come in with my lighter spruce, shaded spruce, so that I can do the grass up here, and it's going to have some of the brown in it, and that's okay. And then the leaves up the top. Oops. And then I wanted to kind of color the ground a little bit, just so it looks like a little path. And I'm going to go back with the darker color on the soft suede and color in the stones. You could have used gray for this too if you had it. Okay, now we've got to do that door. And let's see, I didn't paint the door on that one, but on the other one, I did it green, and I think that's what we'll do. So I'm going to go in and just outline around the window. Around the doorknob. We're going to come back and paint these too. And we need some yellow. I chose Daffodil Delight for this to finish up the two bulbs. The light shining through the window, the doorknob, and don't forget the little star and Mama's hair. She's still a blonde. Okay, and I see that I left off my little tiny leaves on her apron. And for her face, we do have a blend that's called Ivory. So I'm going to use that for her face. Just to give her a little color. It's not necessary, her hands. And Here's Papa. Let's do Papa's hands. Okay, so now we've got our card, the inside and the rest for the front. So I'm going to glue these down. And I go around with my adhesive, and then I'm giving it about a 1/4 inch around. And I see what I did. I'm going to put that right there. I actually did it upside down, but you won't be able to tell. Now, you need to make this closed, and I didn't show you how to do that. So this is tear and tape. It's sticky on both sides. I'm going to put, and you can just tear it with your fingernail. And either get a pair of tweezers or use take your pick tool. First, you kind of need to burnish that down, either with your fingernail or with some sort of tool, so that you can pick up the backing. Now, I'm going to close it, and there you have your card. But, you know, I have to put some sort of bling on it, so the red rhinestones were perfect for this. Got a little pack. Let's see, you got 220 in this pack. Weren't those cute? And I'm going to use the sticky end, and somehow I got ink places I didn't want ink. So you remember that a mistake is just room for an embellishment. So there you go. And I pretty much stuck to my timeline, trying to give all of you time to eat your lunch, maybe have a little time to check emails, and there is our finished card. Isn't that adorable? And what a cute, simple fold, fun fold for the card. Now, you can see that I should have turned this up. And I don't always do what I tell y'all to do, but it works fine because I just slid it under it and it looks just like the page in a book. Don't forget to put your hallmark on the back. If you don't have a stamp with your name on it, just use any kind of little decorative stamp, and then just put your initials, and I always put the year on my cards, but I usually put it when I send it on the inside. So now, let me see, was there anything else I wanted to tell you? I'm going to try this again. Last week it didn't work, but we're going to see if I can. Oops. Okay. Let's see if I'll be able to tell you goodbye. Okay. Thank you again for joining me. It is always such fun, and I missed you last week, so it's a pleasure to be back. Join me again next Thursday for another demonstration and have lunch with Laura. And until then, I hope you have a great week. Keep your fingers crossed. If things go according to plan, I'll show you some of my organizational redos I'm working on. And thanks again. Mwah. Love y'all.